Hey, welcome to the Go-To Physio podcast. My name is Dave O'Sullivan, and in season 4, it's all about building a go-to clinic that gives you happy patients, happy staff, high profits, and the freedom as a proud go-to clinic owner. My aim is to share my mistakes and my successes over the last 15 years working in professional sport and private practice, and ultimately building a go-to clinic that's given me the freedom to travel all around the world. I hope you enjoy the show. Hey, welcome back to the Go-To Physio podcast, season 4, and we're into episode 4 of the season, and it's all about building a go-to clinic that gives you happy patients, happy staff, high profits, and the freedom as a successful go-to clinic owner. As always, I'm joined by Paddy Mulligan. Paddy, thank you so much again for joining me on today's episode.
Cheers, Dave. Looking forward to this one.
Yeah, and the whole point of this podcast is to give you real world in the trenches experiences. Paddy, multi-clinic owner. I've grown my own clinic over the years. Very different experiences, and as any mentor should, we want to help you to avoid some of our mistakes, and that's mainly what this podcast is about, really, is to help you get there a little bit quicker with a little bit less pain. And today's episode, it's all about the 3 skills I wish I knew when starting my clinic. Okay, we're going to keep it a bit more high level today. We've talked kind of in depth about some deep stuff in the first 3 episodes. It's a bit more high level, it's a bit more actionable today. And then we'll get back into some of the more deeper finances and other bits and pieces in coming episodes, head physio systems, all those good things. So Paddy, let's kick it off with you. The 3 skills you wish you knew. What's the first skill that you wish you knew when you were starting your clinic?
I'm going to probably entitle this, we'll call it vision, or having a vivid vision. But I suppose it's the skill of being able to stay on track. And I hope that makes sense. So to unravel that a little bit, I think we all start, we come out of college, we've got our degrees, and we maybe work with someone for a while or in an environment. We go, I can do this. I think I can be good at it. But sometimes we don't pause for a moment to go, actually, what am I going to achieve with this, and where do I want to land, and what am I going to do? We get excitement, family support us, we get started, and we build up a client list, and we build authority in the community. But then often we can get stuck in that flywheel. We're just going to go round and round and round. We struggle to break on from that. So I think, for me, one of the biggest frustrations or challenges at the start, when I was starting my clinic, was you get to a point where you're busy and you're super busy and you're making some money, but you're going, well, what's next? I haven't paused or stopped to consider the next step. And bizarrely, Dave, and you might be able to pick this apart a bit more, is we almost struggle to pause and stop and go, we're too busy. I'm too busy to sit down and do any of this coaching, mentoring thing. I'm too busy to pause and figure out what my next step is going to be. And sometimes opportunities come up, and organically we get a slightly bigger space, or we hire another therapist, another admin. It just kind of happens to us rather than planning it and making a conscious decision of doing it. And I think it happened to me, and I think it happens to a lot of clinicians. So if I was to have my time back, and even speaking to some clinicians who come on board with the mastermind and go, am I too early? It's just me. Am I too early to do this? And like, this is brilliant. This will save you so much time, so much heartache, so much stress, so much overwhelm, because the path isn't always linear. But at least if we have some milestones along the way, we can know if we're moving in the right direction or not. So if I had a superpower, it would be taking the time to map out a vivid vision. And it'll change, doesn't have to be set in stone, but understanding that there's steps along the way, and highlighting some of those milestones, if you want to use the analogy from the mentorship. I think that'd be something I'd really encourage people to do, and I wish I had it done earlier.
Absolutely. And I would wholeheartedly agree with that, because I think it's the first thing that needs to happen in order to make any right decision or smarter decision. It's the roadmap. It's a bit like that effective explanation you have behind you there. What's the vision for where you want to get back to? What's the definition of success? Okay. And then everything that we do, from communication to hands-on treatment to rehab, it's all optimized towards that. So getting super clear on that. I'm going to add a couple of things to that, Paddy, where I didn't realize the importance of the vision. And I think why it's such an important skill is the vision is incredibly important for culture, for morale. Okay. I think one of my mentors kind of taught me it doesn't necessarily matter if the team believe the vision. All that they need to believe is that you believe in the vision. So they'd like, I'll say, you know, we want to be the best sports physio clinic in the country. Okay. Doesn't matter at this moment in time if my staff don't believe that. What's important is that they believe that I believe it, that we can achieve that. So I think that's really important. We have to be constantly reminding our staff of the vision. Every single week in service training, I'm talking about my vision, okay, for this place. It's something that you have to consistently do to keep staff aligned, to keep staff motivated. We've talked about this in previous episodes. We use the vision document as a tool to attract good staff. When we hire staff, there becomes that point, as I said in a show previously, where the tables turn. The candidate selling us, the therapist or the admin is selling us on why we should pick them. And then when we find a good one, we have to sell them on why they should actually accept the offer. And the vision document is one of the most powerful documents to have in that scenario, to get people excited, to get people motivated. The last thing I would say about the vision, Paddy, is your vision needs to be so big that your therapist's individual visions for themselves fit within that vision. And if their vision for themselves doesn't fit within the vision for the business, then that's usually when people leave. And, you know, sometimes you can have good staff leave as well if your vision for the business isn't big enough. So I think they're all points that I would probably add on top of that vision. So you can see it's not just something airy fairy where you're going to think about for yourself. You're actually going to use that vision as a tool pretty much every single day. And I use my vision every single day when I'm in the clinic and I'm talking to my staff.
We touched on an earlier episode where it helps us to make those decisions, be they difficult decisions or opportunities. It's allowing us to say no to opportunities that come up. Oh, the space come up around the corner. Oh, it's a bargain. It's only available for next month. That doesn't align with my vision of where I want the business to go. So I think having a vision, having it documented, helps to reduce the mistakes or the potential mistakes that you might make. We're still going to make mistakes along the way, but it helps us to make better decisions, which is all we want. So that was the first thing I think I'd like.
Yeah,
Second,
and I'm just gonna share this as well, Paddy. Just quickly my screen. So if you are on YouTube or whatever, you can see it, or if you're listening, you can go onto our YouTube and see it. This is our document, okay? And again, this isn't just to show you that this isn't fluff. This is stuff that we're living and breathing, okay? About the company. So again, when new staff members come in, bit of a history about the company, okay? Here's what you should expect from us, okay? Our guarantees, our vision, okay? And again, it's clear. And again, we've hit this now, okay? We've nailed that 3 years ahead of schedule. Okay, and there's stuff here that we're working towards, some of the core values that we'll need. Again, probably a whole episode in itself. What makes us different? Okay, our approach and a few other bits as well there. Okay, so this is stuff. It's a living, breathing document. It's actually in our clinic as well. So it's not airy fairy stuff. It should be a living, breathing document, and it's going to be so useful for you on so many levels that you cannot believe that you will be using that every single day. So Paddy, do you want to go on to the next skill?
Yeah. So next thing, I'm going to title this one, I think, customer journey. So it's something I probably only realized in the last 3 or 4 years when we decided to grow the clinics, the importance of it. But understanding what a customer journey is, what a great customer journey can be, and how important it is for us in our business. So to give an example of when we started, so when we started my first clinic, it's like, well, I'm going to get a nice space, room, put a bit of signage outside, and I will call around to local businesses. I'll put a couple of posts on Facebook and it'll grow. And sometimes that's what happens. People come in with good reputation and it grows, and we grow to a point. But what I didn't, and whether it's, Alex Hormozy, Dan Kennedy, these guys who are the gurus or whatever, it's understanding, okay, what is the experience that the customer, our ideal. So first thing is understanding who is our ideal customer, not being afraid to identify who our ideal target person is. And the immediate kickback from people earlier in their careers is, oh, I don't want to become too specialist because I won't get enough people. You go, no, you need to resonate and speak with an avatar. So I can tell you our avatar, actually, bizarrely, his name's David. His name's David, he's mid-40s, he works in tech industry, his revenue is this much, he's got a wife, 3 kids, previously played this level of sport, has grumbling knee problems. I can go on for the next 90 seconds. But when we communicate with that person, and our communications with that person. So we're trying to attract, that's our idea of client. At the start, it was just, let's put some information out there. Let's put some posts up about knee pain, let's post up about whatever. The other element to this, Dave, for me is understanding customer journey starts from the first touch point. So the importance of the website, the consistency of our brand and our socials, the consistency of the communications, the consistency of the initial and how the phone was answered, the consistency of how we communicate with people before they come into the clinic, when they come in, what their experience is, what the transition from admin to physio back to admin, what the follow-up is, what the communication post-session. I can go on and on and on. But there are things I probably thought about them, but didn't truly map out or write down. And again, it can seem overwhelming, but it's a case of, and how we do it, and it's something that we do in the mastermind, is we try and break it into that reality maker blueprints. We break it into 5 stages. So it's the initial stage before the patients come in. It's the stage of how we communicate with them, how we communicate them when they come in, how we treat them when they're actually there, how we follow up with them, and then the lifetime value. So the lifetime contact. So keeping people in our world and offering value. Because often, as clinic owners, we will get people a good outcome. We will build our authority and we will say, if you need me again, let me know. Whereas if we continue to communicate them, if we ask them to refer their friends and family members, we can build an organic marketing machine that will drive the quality patients and the quality referrals to ourselves, rather than constantly having to go back out into the world and into the market and try and bring in new people who we're not 100% sure about. So again, we could chat a lot about customer journey, but for me, if I took the time to better understand who my ideal avatar was, the touch points that I can potentially have, and not get overwhelmed, but go, okay, this month I'm going to just improve one touch point. Could be our website. Next week we'll work on how we answer the phone next month. Then it's our initial assessment and our effective explanations. And work that way sequentially. It's a game changer. Because the last point I'll make is that sometimes we do it and we do a blitz. It's a bit like our website. We overhaul our website and we blitz it. And then we leave it there for like 6 or 7 years and go, okay. But things move on. Patients' expectations, our service moves on, how people interact moves on. So it's constantly trying to audit and evolve and improve that. So if I could do things again and save myself a lot of time and heartache and attracting the wrong kind of patients, it'd be to understand who my ideal client is and the touch points in the customer journey to keep them in our world, to set them up for success at the start, but then to keep them in our world rather than having to go out and get new people. So that's Brilliant. My customer journey.
Yeah. And just to add a little bit onto that. So again, build a go-to clinic. A go-to clinic is a clinic that has happy patients, happy staff, high profits, and freedom for you as a clinic owner. The customer journey is critical for profit. Okay. A go-to clinic is not built on how many new patients you get. It's built on how many patients you can keep progressing. When you look at your financials and you look at your initial assessment income by revenue stream of all of the initial assessments, how much that was worth to your business this year, and then you look at how much follow-up income was worth to your business this year, you will see that the profit, everything, it's all about the follow-up income. And that is customer journey. Customer experience is a feeling. Okay. It's a feeling. And that's the reason, as you come in that door, Pro Sport House, I ripped down the wall. I spent a good chunk of money because the hut where the reception area wasn't big enough. Okay. Because it's the first thing that people see. So I was like, no, that's not great customer experience, customer journey. So we've literally got someone in to take out some of the walls so that the actual admin reception area is bigger. Okay, people can see us, they feel better when they come in. Okay, but ultimately, then the patient journey, what happens before the patient comes in? We want the patient to be 80% sold in the go-to clinic mastermind. That patient needs to be bought into you, the clinic, the process that they're going to come through. Okay. You do not need or want your admin team or your physios to be your marketing team. Essentially, that's the job of your marketing, is to get people 80% sold. Okay. So the sales process gets easy then. Okay. The other big thing then, the customer journey, in terms of what happens after the first session, do they get their exercises on time? All of these things are absolutely critical. But in terms of profit, high profit, customer journey is definitely one. Okay, so some really good points there, Paddy. Paddy, I'm going to shoot you for your third skill.
So how to hire, and the subsections of that are like you really,
I'm gonna, Paddy. I'm just gonna add in a second bit to that. How to
yeah,
hire and onboard.
yeah, exactly. That what I was going to say was how to hire, and then there's two subsections of that: how to onboard, but then how to coach. So just to give an overview, so how to hire, we're good at what we do, we're overwhelmed, we go, I need somebody on board. We have the eternal debate. I get another therapist. Actually, hang on, do I need an admin? Because if I stop doing the lower level tasks, it'll free up my time to create more money or to train the new therapist, whatever it might be. Take somebody on, um, admin, for example. There's the desk, there's a computer, here's your logins. I'll see you at the Christmas get together. Good luck. May the force be with you. And sadly, that's what happens. And after about 6 weeks, they come to you and they go, I'm really struggling with this. You're frustrated because they're not doing the things, and you end up going, I'll do it myself. And then you're angry because you're paying them a wage, and you're like, why would I not just do this myself? The bit we've missed, obviously, is who do I need? And the bit I've learned in time, and it's part of the mastermind process, is taking some time to think, who is my next hire and what does the business require to move me a further step towards my vision? What are the roles and responsibility of that person? So admin, answering the phone, doing follow-up calls, etc., etc. What are the traits and behaviors that person will have to show me if I'm going to hire them, so that I'm hiring the right person? And there's actually a process to hiring, as opposed to they've applied, they look like they're good, come in, have a chat, they seem sound, there's a job, let's go. So actually having a hiring process and a step-by-step process, which we can dig into deeper. And then I suppose having somebody who's clear on what their role is, what success is for them, because it's amazing, and it still astounds me how when we get the right people on board, and great people, I'm lucky to have some great people here, is they will become their own flywheels of success, where they go, okay, here's a target, here's what I need you to achieve, and they'll just go and do stuff. And they might come back to you and say, well, I've done this, what else can I do? Or I've done this and I've also done this, is that okay? You give them permission, and over time they just start to figure things out for themselves. The challenge from a clinical point of view, what I found was a new therapist comes in, we give them new patients, the new patients drop off, we get frustrated because their PVA is 2 and ours is 6, 7, 8. And you start to second guess, should I have another therapist? Did I spend the time with them? Did I give them structures? Did I give them frameworks for success? It was my fault. Did I empower them and set them up for success? Did I sell them a vision and didn't follow through on it? Potentially. So I think that's where, maybe Dave, you might touch on it with the head physio frameworks, but with the mentorship philosophy, just gives structure. People have a process that they can comprehend and get their mind into, and it sets a therapist up for success. And I had some hires at the start who were good people, decent therapists, who I didn't take the time to help them, and ultimately they moved on. And that's probably one of my biggest regrets and biggest learnings, whereas now we make a lot of time to onboard people, to make sure, firstly, to make sure the right people, but then onboard them, and I would say almost over onboard them, to make sure that they're accountable, they know what they're trying to hit, and to ensure they have the steps to allow them to achieve that. Because
Yeah.
often we'll find 3, 6 months in, we're frustrated, they're not hitting their targets, and it's often an onboarding issue is what I've found.
Yeah, some great points. I think just to add to that, and I think we probably will do a hiring and onboarding episode because we could talk about this for hours, but just to add a couple of points there, I think the key things are getting clear, exactly as you said, the skills that you need, the traits that you need from the person. I think that is, if you don't get the right person, it's a really good hire will change your life. A really bad hire will cause you a lot of stress and frustration. And sometimes the hardest ones are the good people, but they just don't have the skills. And they can be the ones that you almost hang on to for longer because they are such nice people. Now, I just want to talk about one thing to finish, and that is you talked there about the activities. We need to start thinking about revenue generating activities, whether it's an admin or whether it's a therapist. What are the revenue generating activities in the business? And they're the skills that you need to be hiring for, because your job as a clinic owner is to turn your assets, which is your staff, into revenue. And then we need to control our expenses by turning our revenue into profit. And then we need to collect that cash, turning that profit into cash. So every hire you make, it's to generate revenue in the business somehow. Okay. Whether that's a financial person is to collect the accounts receivable or whatever it is. Okay. So I think that's really important, is to get clear on what are the revenue generating activities that person will be doing, rather than just going, here's your roles and responsibilities, and understanding them and then having the systems and the structures in place to help that person be successful is non-negotiable as well, presuming that is the right person for the role with the right skills.
The other thing that just comes to my mind there is the point of hiring someone is to leverage that person who is in essence an asset to allow you to move to the next level or to free up your time. And sometimes we forget that. So we've seen it in Mastermind where sometimes people bring in an admin and they have them doing certain tasks, but they're still answering the phone or doing the thing in reception and filling the paper, and you're going, hang on, what does my week consist of? How much time am I spending these tasks on these tasks? What level are these tasks? Low level, mid-level, high level? And how many of those low to mid-level tasks can I get off my plate? Because I need to be doing the higher level strategic work to allow the business to grow, because we talked earlier about we need growth in the business. So I think that's part of the preparation for a hire. We should be able to prepare. It shouldn't be reactive. It's preparing and going, I need this person to come in and here's the task. And it's something I drill into any of the people you work with. Before you hire, get really clear on what you need them to do and what you need to get off your plate. I think that's a really important element as well to consider.
Really good points, yeah. And there is different levels of work. As you said, there's £9 an hour work, there's £70 an hour, £500 an hour, £10,000 an hour work. And that's a really good point. But it all comes down to generating revenue for the business, because that's the thing that pays the wage. Absolutely brilliant, Paddy. Thank you as always for that. Okay. So the key things, the importance of a vision, the importance of the customer journey, and hiring and onboarding skills, and then that naturally translates into leadership skills then, which again you'll see will play out as staff are with you, and as you said, Paddy, they're not keeping patients on track and bits and pieces, and it all becomes behavior change then. How do I get behavior change from my staff? That becomes the challenge then. So that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you as always, Paddy, and we will see you on the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's show. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, if you'd like a free copy of my Head Physio Systems 6-step checklist that I use to personally audit my own therapists to make sure that they can keep patients progressing even when the pain is eased, so that we can ethically increase our patient numbers, our revenues and referrals, head over to www.thegotophysio.com/checklist and I'll get that sent straight over to you. That's it for this week. I'll see you in next week's show.